Hey yo, what is going on guys, and welcome back to a new video on my channel and another league racing highlight video. We are here in Imola, another of my favorite tracks actually on the game. Always has been ever since it's been introduced in 2021. And yeah, I'm always really fast here, but actually on this game I'm struggling a little bit. I was not cooking that much in qualifying, and by the way, these kind of screen freezes here, they happen a couple of times I think in a video. That is because of my stream settings. I'm still trying to nail my dual PC streaming setup with NDI. In case there's anyone out there with experience, let me know if you can help me out, because my gaming PC is kind of acting up. If I use the game capture, my game is completely standing still, and if I use my screen capture, this stuff here happens, so it's not ideal either. But it works in some way, and I think the quality of today's gameplay is a little bit better because I'm using an actual recording and not just my stream VOD. And as you can see, we are cooking in the lab. We actually purple. I think the first purple is fake, the second one was true at the time. And yeah, crossing the line. Let's see, I was not 100% happy, but it was at least good enough to get into Q2 with a 0.215. It's P3 behind Jano, and Longway was cooking up a big lap. So yeah, Nico did a great job there for Ferrari. Jano and me in P2, P3, pretty decent job. And now on to qualifying number 2. Currently we have only an invalid lap and one lap on old tires, so my lap is pretty much, I need to send it here. Okay, this is the one, and we missed the apex in turn 1, and with that we don't nail turn 2, which is not ideal, but you know, there's still plenty of time to find. So let's focus on the rest of the lap, and we actually nail this sequence pretty well. 569 could have been a low 5, high 4 already. And now into the middle sector, where I kind of felt the most confident throughout this whole session. And we are taking it a bit easier here. You can see we're not close to the track limits because that's where I got my invalidation from. Also here we're not too tight to track limits. Still pretty good, carried a lot of momentum. We're currently purple in the middle. And also we are cooking again over the chicane. I think my setup was not that great over the chicane. In general, I couldn't just make it work. It was always a bit rough, but I kind of nailed it in the session, so that's good. And in the penultimate 2 corners, I was not on it, not 100%, but it was
maybe
still
not 7
P1
tenths.
for now. And
But that should do it.
yeah, pretty solid effort. Actually, the third fastest lap, and look how tight it was. Look at my reaction, and we are also checking if Jano makes it through, and indeed he does. Here we go. Nice stuff from Jano.
Top 10 split by a bit more than half a tenth, man.
Yeah, and that was insanely competitive. And now we're actually going on to my fast lap in Q3, and you will see why. Another screen freeze, sorry for that. It's gonna be the last one for this lap, and I think overall race as well. So we are on used tires. They were in like 3 or 4%. I think 4% starting the lap of 5%. And we were actually cooking. Like, honestly, like we were flying on the worn tires. Right here also close to the track limits. Let's see what can we do in the next corner. Aqua Minerale. Also pretty good in terms of hitting the lines early on the power. And we are crossing the line for a 6-0 split. Purple again. And we completely nailed the first part of the chicane. So we were on for a really good lap. I knew that. And if we get a good first lap, and even on old tires, what can we do on fresh ones? But I completely mess up this corner and go wide with that loose time and invalidate, and I could not believe it. Especially crossing the line, you will see. This is so painful.
Oh my God, I was cooking.
It would have been P3 in the first run. And yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was really annoyed, but the pace was there. We were actually flying today in qualifying, in the session, and now we're going for the final lap in Q3. And let's see if we can do a better job, or if we're gonna mess it up again. First corner, okay, still drift a bit wide. I was struggling with my setup the whole time in turn 1 and 2. Honestly, it was a bit too understeery. And if not, then it was just, I don't know. Also here again, the understeer. And that's it. I was not completing the lap proper pace. So yeah, we're only starting P9. Would have been a little bit further ahead by 1 position.
Man, like I barely lost out.
If our first lap would have counted.
My first lap just been
But
1 position higher.
Still,
That's
pretty decent effort
crazy.
into Q3. And now onto the race. We are starting on the medium compound, right behind Josh, Ido, and then our 2 teammates, Jano and Dani. And we get a pretty solid launch off the line. Actually, I think one of the best in the whole medium runner grid. But we are not forcing anything here. Just keeping our front wing, keeping distance, and maybe we can benefit here because Josh and Dani are fighting. But we also had a moment that was scary. I was not ready for this, but actually, guys, I'm not kidding. Usually this is as an excuse when the race went bad, but I have not practiced the race. The only thing I've did, like the longest stint, was 4 laps on hards. 4 laps, I think. Maybe even 3, but I think it was 4. And that is insane. Actually insane. This is kind of the first part where we've been attacked from Wilson behind. He started on softs, had a pretty interesting strategy. And yeah, until then, until the pit, nothing happened. We came in lap 12 to go onto the hard compound. And we are coming out right behind of Istvan and ahead of Wilson, which is important. I was actually surprised that he did not undercut us big time. So yeah, and Istvan, I thought he was flying, but I realized quickly he's actually struggling for ERS. In lap 18, he was already flashing a couple of laps before. I was skipping out the parts where we were not attacking, just saving up our ERS again. You can also see Jano pitted as well in the meantime. And you can see we're putting big pressure on Istvan Pukki here. And with that, knowing his ERS, he's not gonna defend, and we are just gonna overtake him on the straight. Pretty easy, good pace from us. Of course, also fresher tires. I think 2 lap fresher tires than Istvan. And with that, we move ahead into P7. This is actually net P7. And now in lap 19, we're gonna go for a move on Josh because he does not have ERS, and we know that we have 1 lap fresher tire, I think, or 2. Oh, I think it's 1. Or maybe it's actually the same lap. I don't remember when Josh did pit. I do not remember, actually. I think he actually pitted the same lap as us. Yeah, he did. True. And, well, now on this lap, I know my task is to get back into the DRS of the guys ahead as quickly as possible. Perfect scenario would be now, because if not, then Josh will stay close to us and probably go for an overtake at the end of the lap, and then he's gonna be the first guy in line with the next train. So we are pushing like crazy with the ERS, and you can see we're getting closer and closer and closer. We might make it. At this point it's still not certain, but we are making up another bit of time. Not pushing here with the ERS, but here we will, because this is right before the actual line. Now we have to get a good chicane. Can we do it? And yes, we do. We get a brilliant chicane. The others, of course, also in the dirty. I had to slow down a bit, and we're still using just to be safe. But now we can see, okay, we are closing in. And with that, we got the DRS. Now we are in the train. So again, saving you some time until the next action-packed situation is happening. And that is Thomas Rona and Otis Lawrence. And we know from the past that PSGL is quite chaotic, so I was just keeping a gap. I was not stressing it. I just wanted to keep my front wing. I knew I didn't want to be involved today in any incidents, because otherwise our bad luck is there again. And yeah, so with that, we just kept it cool, kept it clean, and went for a cheeky little double overtake on Otis and Thomas. And with that, we are moving up right behind the podium positions into P4 with just 10 laps to go. And now it's lap 29, when we have Brendan Lee charging on fresh mediums, and he's going for a move in the hairpin, and we make a little bit of contact there, I think. Not much. We can stay ahead, holding the outside, using a bit of ERS so he doesn't go for a move into the next left-hander. And he's still, you can see, he has quite a significant grip advantage, but I think this is gonna fade away in the next few laps, so it's gonna become a bit more equal. So we still had to push. He had lower ERS though, so now he's going for a move on the inside. We are holding the outside, still squeezing him a little bit, and with that he can't get the run on us into the chicane because the left-hander is of course the next one. He might have gone for a switchback or something, but with that we are defending from Brandon Lee, and at the end of this lap into the next one we can see the guys ahead are fighting, and now Ulas and Nico are side by side, and I think Ulas pushed Nico off there, and with that we can get a run on Nico. Nico realized, oh no, Marcel's also coming, tried to move over, but it was already too late, so we moved into P3, and now we have to manage our ERS, because I think Nico had more ERS. I had to use because of Brandon to defend from him, and we have now, I think, the lowest ERS aside from Ulas. Ulas has more or less the same, and you can see we got a warning as well. Nico was still flying, even though he had, I think, 1 lap older tires than us. He was still on it this whole time, and you can see he also has a bit more straight line speed, not much more, but faking a move. He knows he can't go for another one on here because maybe he gets pushed over, there's a collision, and yeah, so he's gonna settle back, but this is not over yet. We still have a big fight here. This is the most important lap because there's one more DRS chance to overtake big time. Nico is trying to go down the inside. We actually make contact here. He hits us a little bit, but everything went alright. With that, we keep P3 for now. We're skipping towards the final lap because now we're just trying to maybe get a move on Ulas. His tires are dead. He pitted lap 10, so you will see throughout this whole lap he's struggling for grip. You can also see here again on the exit, there's just not the grip that he needs, and I think I could have been a bit more efficient with the ERS, but it was okay trying to fake moves, put him under a little bit of pressure, and it works. Then we also kind of had a rear lockup on this lap, maybe because tires dropped a bit further, and yeah, Nico made a bit of contact with us there as well, so we lost a little bit more traction. But anyways, it's so hard to get a run in this middle sector. If you don't make it into turn 1, it's really hard to overtake unless somebody makes a big mistake. And Ulas is defending for his life. Now we're getting super close one more time in the chicane. Maybe it was a bit too fast in, but you cannot get the power down in the dirt yet that much. So we are trying to send it once more into the penultimate corner of the track, and we can't send it, otherwise it's gonna end dirty, and we don't want that. So yeah, GG's to Ulas, and we might get it. Maybe Ulas gets a penalty, so we could end up P2. Apparently there was also an investigation with Lucas. Could be P1, who knows, but we are definitely having P3 today.
All of this bad luck, man, I could at
guys,
least in one race where
thank you all so much for the support. See you in the next one.
Yeah.
I will enjoy my
P9,
birthday.
That's not bad.
Until then, peace out, have a lovely day.
Mate, everything
You're
was
Marcel.
so good executed. Also the overtake on Josh with them pushing and getting the DRS exactly in the same lap. Oh, that was... Jesus. That felt so good, honestly. Thank you, man. Thank you very much, John.